This conference will now be recorded.
All right, today is Wednesday, September 19th, and we have a whole bunch to talk about. Just one thing, just remember, class is going to be starting as soon as we're done with this meeting, right at about 9:15, and then also we have our Traders Exchange. Make sure, guys, if we don't have enough questions, then we're not going to be doing it. So make sure you send your questions and topics to te@aheadofthecharts.com. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is TLRY. Unfreaking believable. All right, we put it in the high probability channel yesterday, and we knew. See, it's funny. I held 200 shares. It's not even about the money. I ended up holding 200 shares just because at that 150 and that 149, we just got so much buying that came back in there. And even though it made a really great move yesterday, and we come back over here to where it kind of pushed towards, all right, right at that 155 level, $5 just wasn't really enough for how much it was supposed to move. So I held a little bit. Number 3 on the $100 stock list. And I got Dries, I got LFIN, and TLRY. So we came in this morning, and there's just nothing but buying. And then 220, we had some really good buying that it really never pulled back from, coming up right about here. So just keep that in mind. I'm expecting it to pull back underneath 220, but then we do have prints up at 337 on the ask side of things. So there's still actually some money to be made in the stock. Based off the prints that we have there. But you have to remember the pullback is probably going to be pretty damn big considering the fact that it's TLRY. I mean, it moved $100 overnight, which is just baffling. So anyone that still has that thing, it's going to be a good day. All right, class is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to be getting a lot of volume and a lot of prints. All right, so we're basically, what we need to see is we just need to continue to see new buying that comes into it. We know it's going to pull back big. It has to. All right, now keep in mind one thing. Now, when you see a stock move like this, a lot of the times what's going to end up happening, because it did show some buying up here around that, like I said, that 237 on the ask side of things as we pushed back up. I wouldn't doubt after this pullback that they're going to run this thing up, but when they decide that it's time to drop it, it's going to be nasty. I mean, when I say nasty, it moved up $100. So think about what a pullback on a stock that moves $2 is, okay? And then think about what a pullback on a stock that is $100, all right? So keep that in mind. Don't get caught trying to get in too late, and then all of a sudden, $50, somewhere in the vicinity like that. Do not try to chase this thing. Make sure it's, as long as it's a high probability, you don't have to worry about it. But don't just, this is not a stock to shoot from the hip because it moved up so much and you kind of have that fear of missing out. Make sure you find a high probability trade, and from that high probability trade, good things will happen. Okay, but just keep in mind, in that high probability trade, at some point, do not get greedy, because there's just, what they could do is just, it's crazy. All right, they could literally drop this thing $50. Good idea to get puts. It doesn't show puts yet. Remember, it's not, just because a stock goes up huge does not mean that it has to come back down. Is there anything, guys, stopping this stock from going to 300 today? Absolutely not. This stock could go to 500 today. You know what? Is it going to? Probably not. 300, we wouldn't. And you know what? I don't even think that's too crazy because of the fact that it's just, it does whatever the hell it wants. I mean, look at this daily chart. All right, you're talking about, since it's been open, going down from 25 up to right now the highs that came up over $240. So just make sure you follow the rules, the high probability rules. Don't try to just click the button and hope that it goes up, because hoping in this stock will crush you. Let's talk about Cron. Cron finally giving us a little bit of some interesting stuff out there. We've been waiting for this guy to come back in. And remember, we're just in a really crappy consolidation. That's all it is. Okay, it's just a consolidation. That's why I looked. It's just a big consolidation, up and down and up and down and up and down. But once we break past this top right here, it's got room to go. One thing that I saw this morning that I loved was a whole bunch of ask prints coming in at that 13 level. See, if we come right here, buying into the 13 and at that 13. So after a pullback underneath, we are going to be expecting this thing to go higher. All right, and we know where the buying is. We know there's a lot of buying up here. So guess what? You know what? Today looks like we might have the day. It's got, 3.2 million shares in volume already being traded. The pot stocks are hot, which brings us to the next one, is CGC. All right, now CGC, I haven't seen anything that I really fell in love with this morning yet. All right, we can see the 56. I did like these prints right there. Okay, and I feel like it's just going to basically follow the stock. Now, 1.3 million shares, 56 pulling underneath that right now. We're coming down to 55. 55 is a big psychological level, would be a perfect spot for this thing to end up coming back and triggering back up, and then, the guy at 56 making their money. So it's not as many prints as we've seen in TLR. Well, TLRY doesn't have a lot of prints, but we know that because the orders are just so extremely thin. But it's not, I don't like it as much as I like Cron, but at the same time, it did give us a show of hand at that 56 level. So keep in mind, we're basically on all three of these stocks, we're looking for a pullback and then a trigger back towards that upside. Okay, very simple. It's black and white as that. And then one other thing that I got going on this morning is NBEV. So NBEV, we've been watching for probably 3 days now. Yesterday, made a good move money-wise, but it's just a very ugly stock. I mean, if we look at this thing, doesn't trade very well. It's just a lot of, kind of drastic moves up and down and up and down, but it follows the prints. So make sure that you just get, it hasn't really given us a show of hand yet, especially because it did not hit that 350, but underneath 350, we can see we did get big bursts of buying. So there's money up there. So after we're coming back down, there's no reason in the world that this thing can't spike back up and break above that 350. So this isn't even a sideless stock. This is just a regular stock that we're watching. So other than that, it looks like the pot stocks have taken the volume. Printed 3. It printed at 3 yesterday and pulled back, so it's up. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Anything else out there that I missed? All right, yeah, it's literally, it's pot stocks. That's what we're going to be focusing on. So class, we have some great show of hands that we're going to be coming in. AMD is we're still waiting for the same exact thing. Coming back over to AMD, nothing within this story has changed whatsoever. Came down this morning again to 31. We know overall it's got to come back up. I just think that the pullback has not been satisfied yet. All right. So even though, it still came down to this support level at 31.20, I still think that based off the prints that we had yesterday and based off the amount of selling that we had at 32 the day before, I still think that we need to see a little bit more of a pullback. All right, what's pullback expected in Cron from 13? About 50 cents, give or take, somewhere in that vicinity. What are my thoughts on FNKO? Let's see. Don't have any. It's trading 1,500 shares today. No, there's no way, there's nothing in the world that would make me watch this over the stocks that we have on our list so far. All right, guys, so as Natasha said, make sure we are following the rules. The rules today, especially with these stocks, are going to get a little bit crazy. Make sure that you're following. Facebook still, nothing has changed in Facebook, nothing whatsoever. The story, once a story is told, the story has to happen. So nothing whatsoever has changed in there. All right, guys, let's get ready for the morning. In 5 minutes, I'm going to start the meeting for our level 3 lesson 1. I'm doing a million things at once here, and we will be continuing this conversation. All right, guys, happy trading.